You are 19 years old, staring at a needle that hammers down inches from your fingers, 3,000 times a minute. You are just one drop in a sea of bodies, bent over machines in a factory that never truly. The supervisor screams that you are too slow, and you learn quickly that here, time is not money. Time is blood, and you are coughing it up, along with a blue dust filling your lungs. You glance at the heavy padlock on the fire exit, and realize the doors aren't locked to keep thieves out. They are locked to keep you, and the quota, in. Your vision blurs, the neon colors of the shirts melting into a single, exhausting monster. But your story does not start in this noise. It starts when silence was still possible. It starts years ago, before you knew the sound of a machine. Back when the only thing you had to listen to was the wind in the rice paddies. You are 10 years old, running barefoot through mud that belongs to the earth, not a landlord. Life is simple here. You help your mother carry water, and the fire smells like wood, not plastic. You sit in a classroom with no walls, reading a torn book and dreaming of becoming a teacher. But dreams are expensive, and your father's debt is growing faster than the crops. And suddenly, the silence of the village feels like suffocation. You overhear them whispering at night, and you realize that to save them, you must leave them. Your mother cries as she hands you a few coins, unaware she is selling your childhood for rice. The bus is crowded and colorful, carrying 100 other girls just like you toward the smoke. The city hits you like a fist, noise, smog, and traffic unlike anything in your. You wander through a maze of iron sheets and open drains, clutching your bag like a shield. Home is now a single mattress on a concrete floor, shared with 5 strangers who are too tired to speak. You wake up to the smell of burning plastic, before the sun has even touched the sky. The factory gate is the mouth of the beast, and you stand in line hoping it will swallow you. A guard pulls you out, not because you are special, but because you look small, cheap, and obedient. You sign a contract you cannot read, while a man in a tie checks his phone and ignores your existence. The first time you enter the floor, the sheer scale of the machines, and the mountains of fabric shocks. You are sat down at a machine and the noise is so loud. It feels like a physical wall hitting your chest. A girl next to you, wearing a bright scarf, quickly shows you how to thread the needle before the boss sees. You try to sew, but the machine moves faster than your thoughts, and the thread snaps immediately. The supervisor walks by, his eyes scanning for weakness, and you freeze in fear. But Ash's hands are magic. She fixes your mistake in a second, without even breaking her own rhythm. At lunch, you eat cold rice on the floor, and she shares her vegetable curry with a smile. Your first pay packet is tiny, barely enough for a meal in the West, but to you, it feels like gold. You send almost all of it back to the village, keeping only enough to not starve. Months turn into a rhythm. Your hands move faster, becoming part of the machine. At night, you collapse onto your mattress. Your fingers sore, but you feel like an adult. For the first, you see a beautiful dress in a shop window and realize you made it, but you could never afford to buy it. Asha coughs deeply into a rag, and when she pulls it away, there are spakes of red. You look up at the stagnant air and realize the dust isn't just annoying. It's slow poison. You catch your reflection in a shard of mirror. The village glow is gone, replaced by city shadow. Then the supervisor announces a new quota, and the factory floor shifts from busy to frantic. Everything speeds up. The sound of the machines becomes a roar that drowns out your own thoughts. You lose focus for one split second, and the needle finds your finger instead of the cloth. The supervisor sees the red stain and screams about the ruined shirt, not your ruined finger. You hide in the dirty bathroom, wrapping your throbbing finger in a scrap of stolen cloth. Someone pounds on the door. Your 2 minutes are up, and privacy is theft here. You go back to the line and sew through the pain, wincing with every movement of the cloth. Outside, the monsoon turns the streets into rivers of sewage. But the factory demands attendance. You arrive wet and shivering, only to find the guard has docked half your day's pay for being late. Suddenly, the factory is cleaned for the first time in months. Boxes are hidden and lights are fixed. The beer arrives, walking down the aisle like a god in sunglasses. Flanked by the sweating factory owner, the supervisor hisses at everyone to sit straight and smile as if your misery is a production error. He stops at your table to touch the fabric, looking right through your bandaged hand, as if you are furniture. Through the glass wall of the office, you watch them shake hands on a deal that will make them rich and keep you. The moment the nice car drives away, the AC is cut, the lights dim, and the shouting resumes. It is 2 in the morning, and mandatory overtime means you are a prisoner in everything but name. You try the side door to get a breath of fresh air, but the padlock is still there, cold and heavy. They say it's to prevent theft, but you know it's to prevent you from taking a break. Usha slides you a small sweet she saved from lunch. A tiny spark of sugar to keep your. A letter arrives from home. Your father is sick, and the debt has grown teeth. Desperate, you ask the supervisor for an advance. Standing small before his desk. Haha, go. There are 100 girls. He laughs, points to the gate, and tells you there are 100 girls waiting to take your seat for free. You swallow your pride and sew harder, channeling your anger into the machine. Then you see a hairline crack in the plaster on the main support pillar, near your station. You point it out to Usha. She looks at it, then at the supervisor, and shrugs in defeat. You try to show the supervisor, but he yells at you to sit down before he finds you. Sit down. Weeks pass and the crack grows longer, like a slow-moving snake. The heavy generators on the roof make the whole floor vibrate, shaking the dust loose from the ceiling. In the alley, workers whisper about strikes, about safety, about refusing to go in. But the police disperse the crowd with batons, before a single word is truly heard. The next day, the seats near you are empty. Before lunch, they are filled by 2 new girls, who look even younger and more desperate than you. You turn 20 on the line, celebrating your birthday by working a double shift. The dust has settled deep in your chest. Now a persistent dry cough is your constant companion. The doctor gives you medicine, but the bottle costs a week's wages. Huh. You look at the bottle, then at a bag of rice. You choose the rice. Summer hits, and the ventilation breaks completely. The room becomes an oven. A girl 3 rows down faints from the heat, and the supervisor just drags her to the. No ambulance is called. She is just a brie, to be cleared from the path of production. Then the big order comes in. Millions of units for a Western holiday sale. Boxes are stacked everywhere, climbing the walls and blocking the aisles completely. You look at the fire exit. It is now completely buried behind a mountain of polyester pants. You are so tired you hallucinate. For a moment, the needle looks like a silver snake ready to strike. Usha splashes water on your face to wake you up, and she looks more like a ghost than a girl now. Then, deep in the stack of fabric near the overloaded socket, a single spark jumps. A thin wisp of smoke rises, invisible in the air, already thick with blue dust. The fire alarm buzzes, but nobody moves. False alarms happen every day, and stopping means losing. The supervisor yells, "Keep working, it's nothing." The quota doesn't care about noise. You hesitate, your foot hovering over the pedal. Looking at Usha. She is looking at the exit. Then the smell hits you. Sharp, chemical burning plastic. This is not a drill. How could you be so? You stand up, and the supervisor shouts at you to sit down. But his voice is drowned out by a roar. Flames lick up the side of the fabric mountain, turning the polyester into liquid fire. Panic erupts. 300 chairs scrape back at once. Screams pierce the air. The aisles are clogged with the boxes they forced you to stack. People trip, fall, and are trampled. The crowd slams against the main exit, but the padlock holds. It holds tight. You run to the window, gasping for air, but the iron bars turn the view of the street into a prison cell. The crowd surges toward the single, narrow stairwell, and you grab Ash's hand and dive into the ... The smoke turns day into night. You stumble, and for one terrifying second, Ash's hand slips. You scream her name, but the darkness swallows your voice. The heat pushes you forward. You burst out of a side door into the alley, coughing up black soot, collapsing onto the wet pavement. You gasp for air, looking back at the building that was your life, now turning into a tomb. Black smoke billows from the upper windows, where you just were, carrying the ashes of fabric and friend. You frantically scan the faces of escaping workers, screaming a name that nobody answers. High above, you see shadows jumping from the windows to escape the heat, falling like broken dolls. Fire trucks finally arrive, but get stuck in the narrow alley, their sirens wailing useless. Hours pass. You wait by the police line, shaking, watching the building burn itself out. Night falls, and then morning comes. Usha has not come out. The next day, you walk through a makeshift morgue, a school hallway lined with white sheets. You don't need to see the face. You recognize the colorful scarf peeking out from under the sheet. You don't cry. You are too hollowed out by the shock, too empty to make a sound. Outside, reporters are filming the ruins, looking for a good angle of the tragedy. Ha ha ha. The factory owner is on TV crying, blaming sabotage and saying his heart is broken. You kick a piece of burnt fabric in the mud. It's a label for a famous brand that will deny knowing this factory exists. Back in your room, Ash's mattress is empty. A flat space where a life. You can still smell the smoke on your skin, no matter how hard you scrub with cold water. Your savings run out in 2 weeks, and hunger does not care about your grief. You have no choice. You stand in line at a different factory, just down the road. This factory looks exactly like the old one. Same gray walls, same barred. The new boss looks at your scarred hands and offers you lower pay because you are damaged goods. You nod and sign. You need to eat. You need to send money home. Sitting at a new machine, the noise is the same. The dust is the same. The fear is the same. Every time the fire alarm tests, you freeze in terror, your heart hammering against your ribs. You don't make friends this time. It hurts too much to lose them. Walking home, you see a billboard showing a happy Western model, wearing the exact shirt you made. She looks free, rich, and alive. You look gray, broken, and invisible. Your back is permanently bent. Now you walk like an old woman. At a new ... young girl sits next to you, looking scared, struggling with her thread. You hesitate. Then you lean over and show her how to fix it, just like Usha did for you. She smiles at you, a bright, innocent smile that breaks your heart. Another letter from home arrives. Your parents are grateful for the money, and they say you are good. They don't know the price you paid for it. They never will. Another beer comes. Another fake cleanup. Another promise that things are safe. You don't look up this time. You just keep sewing. You know the truth. Years blend together. Your hands are scarred, calloused and shaped permanently to grip the cloth. You are no longer a person. You are a component of the sewing machine, made of flesh instead of. The camera pulls back, leaving you small and gray on the factory floor. It rises through the roof, showing a city of thousands of factories, all pumping smoke. It crosses the ocean on massive ships, carrying millions of tons of cheap clothing to the west. It lands in a bright clean mall, where people fight over the shirt you bled on, because it's on sale. A month later, a button falls off and the shirt is. It ends up in the landfill, rotting slowly, just another piece of waste in a world drowning in it. But back on the floor, the machine keeps turning. You keep turning. You stop for 1 second, looking directly at the camera, breaking the fourth wall. You wonder if the person wearing this will ever feel the heat of the fire, or the shake of your hands. Probably not. The tag says, made in Bangladesh, not made by a person. The lights flicker overhead. The machine hums. You look down and start sewing again. Your story ends here, lost in the noise. But the machine keeps turning for millions of others. Somewhere else, another girl is just stepping onto a bus, dreaming of a better life.